Hey, guys. So this week we're talking about 5 reasons you may have been shrinking your big, bold vision, your big mission that you are brought to this planet to do, to be, to have, to see all around you. And how this shrinking back is the ultimate lack mindset. So let's chat for just a moment about your big vision. What is your big vision in life? What is your big vision for your business? What is your big vision for your income, for your money, for how much money that you'd like to bring in, for the freedom you'd like to be able to have in your life, to do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it? What is your biggest, boldest, most amazing vision that you have in your heart, mind, body, and soul? And are you actually giving yourself permission to have it? Or are you consistently saying to yourself, well, I know I'd love to shoot for the moon, but if I can just get up in an airplane, it's going to be okay. And shrinking your vision to shift into what you think might be achievable, into what you think might be appropriate, into what you think might be rational or reasonable or within reach. Now, the way this might look in terms of your income is, let's say you want $1 million a year business, but you're saying to yourself, well, if I could just have, $100,000 a year business, I'd be happy. That's enough. I don't need any more than that. I'm going to bargain with the universe and say, this is enough. And if I can just have that, I'll be happy. I promise. What do you think that bargaining with the universe is doing in terms of your mindset? It's saying that there's not enough for me to have as much as I desire, that I have to shrink down what it is that I desire in order to have anything, in order to have something that I want, sort of, in order to have the thing that is good enough, but not great, not a full body ecstatic. Hell yeah. You deserve a full body ecstatic hell yes in every area of your life, whether that's your finances, whether that's your business, whether that's your clients, whether that's your relationships, whether that is the way you spend your time, whether that is the way you feel every freaking single day. You deserve to have a life and business and income that feel fun and playful and good and ooey, gooey, overflowing, awesome. And if they don't, well, then something's off. And this is particularly key when it comes to your big vision, when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your aspirations, and when it comes to your mission, what it is that you're here, you're living for, the purpose, the impact, the legacy that you're leaving to the world, right? Because I know that you're a conscious person, and I know that you are here with the heart, mind, body, and soul of somebody that it thumps hard inside of you, this feeling of I'm meant for more and I have something to say and I have something to contribute and I get to be richly rewarded the more I step into that contribution. So here's another way to think of this lack mindset in regard to shrinking your vision, in regard to shrinking your mission, is when you do, you're not only shrinking your opportunities for freedom, more impact, more wealth, more abundance, more awesomeness, feeling even better. You're also shrinking what it is that you were brought here to this world to transmit, to share, to connect with, to help people with. And so you're actually cheating the world by shrinking inside of yourself. You're cheating the world by not allowing yourself the grace, space, compassion, fun, play, awesomeness, feeling so rock solid confident in your ability to have the bigness that you truly desire, the big, bold thing. So if you've ever found yourself saying to yourself, I only need this much and I don't need any more. I only need to get this successful and anything more than that is selfish. I only need to get, X, Y, and Z, or I am basically being greedy, or I'm going to be overwhelmed. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background that's motivating that, limiting beliefs and blocks that are motivating you. If there's a part of you that goes, yeah, but wouldn't it be great if we could really go big? Wouldn't it be great if I stepped into this bigness, ooh, that might be a little bit scary. So what we want to do is we want to hold the space for that bigness within you. We want to hold the space for you to expand radically into everything you desire, and hold the space for it to feel fun, for it to feel engaging, for it to feel like it is like a playground that you get to play inside of, instead of this thing you should do, or you have to do, or that's heavy or burdensome or will overwhelm you. So, as promised, here are the top 5 ways, 5 reasons, 5 internal mechanisms that are going on inside of you that are causing you to shrink your big mission, that are causing you to feel as though you need to settle for less than what it is that you're truly here for, than your highest timeline, than your most successful diamond inside that already exists. So, number one is the fear of success. The fear of success is the fear of getting too big, the fear of the expectations and the responsibilities that might be involved if you get too big, of the whole thing of like, we hear celebrities say that a lot of times they hate getting so successful because they lose their anonymity and they go to a coffee shop and they get recognized and they don't like it, right? It's sort of that kind of thing where we fear success because we fear that people are going to expect and demand things of us all the time. We're going to always have to be on. We're always going to have to be, perfect. We're always never going to have a bad day. We put all of these expectations on ourselves related to what will be expected of us, who we'll have to be in order to be successful, that end up scaring the bejesus out of us, stressing us out, based on usually a whole crap load of limiting beliefs and blocks that say this is dangerous, dysregulate our nervous system, and make our subconscious hold us back from the success that we desire. So that's number one. So what happens is we shrink our vision and we tell ourselves, well, I don't really need to be that successful. I don't really need to go that big. I don't really want to do a best-selling book. I'll just write a book and see who wants to see it. I don't really need to talk on a TEDx stage. I'll just, start showing up on Instagram, which is a great accomplishment. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, we shrink our dreams to fit because we fear that our dreams and our desires and our mission, the bigness of it, will mean there's going to be all these expectations and all this burden related to that level of success. So that's number one. Number two, we fear what others think, or we fear being cut down. This is what is often called the tall poppy syndrome. The tall poppy syndrome, or there's another analogy as well about frogs. I'll tell you in a minute. The tall poppy syndrome is when one poppy grows taller than the rest, it gets its head lopped off. It gets its head cut off, and it's not allowed to grow taller than the rest. Everybody's expected to be at the same level. And if you stick your head up, well, who are you? Who do you think you are? What do you think? What makes you so special? We get those kinds of attitudes, right? The other example is the example of a whole bunch of frogs in a bucket. If you put a whole bunch of frogs in a bucket and one starts to climb out, the other frogs will grab that frog by the leg and pull it back in. And so what happens is we have this really deep instinctual fear that if we go big, that if we get successful, that if we make a crap load of money, guess what's going to happen? Other people are going to cut us down. Other people are going to pull us back. Other people are going to think negatively of us. Other people are going to basically maybe even cut us out of their lives. What if my best friend doesn't know how to relate to me anymore? Or what if my husband and I and our relationship, falls apart because he's always been the breadwinner? So we fear going big. We fear what's happening because we fear what other people might think and what their responses and what their reactions are. A lot of that is due to, guess what? Your own limiting beliefs and your own blocks around and your own stories around what happens in relationships and what happens with other people when people get successful. But it's also related to ways you judge yourself. It's also there's many different factors here. It's related to emotions that you probably haven't dealt with, traumas perhaps that you've experienced around people who actually have judged you and things like that. But what happens is our subconscious, in order to keep us safe from the danger, again, that nervous system dysregulation that goes, this is dangerous, this is threatening. It tells our subconscious mind it's not safe. The subconscious mind then goes, oh, Well, what is safe is this little tiny goal. What is safe is this little tiny vision. What is safe is not making too much. And it keeps us perpetually at that place. Number three is you fear losing things that are of value to you. Now, this can be related to the last one as well. What I mean here is you fear losing your partner. You fear losing time with your kids. You fear losing time freedom. You fear losing, the ability to take a day off whenever you want to. Because if I have a team and I'm running a big business, well, I won't be able to do that. Well, who the hell says? Create your business the way you want it to run when you have it be as successful as you want it to be. That's one of the keys. But if you have a fear that you're going to lose something that you value very highly, like your health, well, if I'm very successful, my health will take a back seat. There's this, I don't remember who the author is, but there's this theory called the 4-burner theory. The 4-burner theory says that basically there's 4 burners. There's work, health, relationships, and family, or something like that. And you can only have 3 burners on at a time. That's the ultimate lack mindset. That's saying I can't have it all. I can't actually find a way to make it all work. And if you're coming from that perspective, you'll always have to make a choice. And guess what? Your subconscious mind is going to drop the one that feels as though it's least important. What's going to be really important? Your health, your partner, your family, things like that. So what goes on the back burner? Your business, your finances, things like that. And so that's why we have to embolden ourselves and empower ourselves to feel as though we can have it all and stop coming from these lack mindsets that cause us to, again, shrink our vision to fit. So if we think we're going to lose everything, if we go big, if we make a lot of money, we're going to lose the things we value most. Guess what's going to happen? We're going to shrink our vision to fit that limiting belief, to fit that story, and to fit those blocks. The 4th thing here is that you fear the expectations and what people will require of you, and that you don't have what it takes. Or you fear of what it will take from you in order to achieve this thing. So this is highly involved with the concept of you're going to climb Mount Everest and you see the top and you're just I don't know how the hell you're supposed to climb Mount Everest. That just seems freaking impossible. That just seems insurmountable. I can't get up there. That is way too big. And so you create this huge thing about what it will take from you in order to get to your biggest vision. You get so involved with the hows. You get so involved with the pathway. You get so involved with the I'm confused. I lack clarity. I don't know what to do, that you stop yourself short of having that big vision, and you shrink your vision to fit what you can figure out, what you can see the pathway for. But here's the thing. That's like saying I can't drive from New York to LA because I only know the first 3 highways and how to get out of New York. Well, you're not always going to know the answers. In fact, if you're waiting for certainty, you're fucked. That's one of my favorite phrases, Ashlee. One of my favorite Ashleeisms is if you're waiting for certainty, you're fucked. Because the only truth in entrepreneurship, in creating more wealth, in life in general, is that everything always changes. One of my favorite philosophers is Heraclitus. He's an old Greek. And he says, you can only step into the same river once, because basically the river is always flowing. The river is always changing. So the river is always different. We might step into that water over and over, but the river is always different. That river, my friends, is your life, is your business, is your income. And if we expect it to stay static and stay the same, we're expecting something that is impossible, and we will always be waiting for it to come into our life. And so what happens? You guessed it. We end up shrinking our vision in order to try to find that certainty, in order to try to find that quote unquote safety that we're seeking. The safety of knowing it will work out. The safety of knowing that I have all the answers and they're always going to be right. Well, if you haven't listened to last week, which was all about judgment and how it's going to screw your business, and waiting to be right will end up screwing your business, go listen to that right now if you find that this is causing something to stir up inside of you, because you can't wait to be right. You have to be able to play with it. You have to be able to take one step at a time. You have to be able to take those highways out of New York City first before you get to the ones in Iowa and across the Dakotas and over to California. You have to take one step at a time. So if you fear what it takes, because you're looking at the top of Mount Everest, you're looking at that big vision and you hold yourself back from it because it's too overwhelming, you're always going to stay stuck. If you feel as though you have to be a different kind of person to stand up on that hill, instead of realizing that you become a different person as you walk the hill, then you're always going to stay stuck. So number 5, what is number 5? Number 5, the reason you shrink your big vision, your big mission in this world is self-trust. It's self-trust. It's trusting that you are the empowered CEO. It's trusting your leadership. It's trusting that you have the answers. It's trusting that even if you are not certain, you can always figure it out. It's trusting that you are a freaking genius and that you have all the answers within you, and that when you can trust that inner channel, when you can just trust those divine downloads, when you can trust that inner wisdom, you are empowered to be the leader in your business, to be the leader in your family, to be the leader in your finances, to make more money, to have more time, to have more freedom, to have all the things that you want. But it comes down to self-trust. If you don't trust yourself, you're not going to trust that you can reach that big vision. You're not even going to trust that that big vision is meant for you, perhaps. Instead, what you'll do is you'll tell yourself, well, it's much safer to shrink for something, to go for something smaller. It's much safer to play a smaller game because I can trust myself with the small decisions, but I'm not sure if I can trust myself with the big ones. I can trust myself by sticking my neck out a little bit, but I can't trust myself by sticking my neck out way out, bigger than anybody else in my family or in my community has ever done. I can trust myself to deal with people who might not like what I'm saying a little bit, 1 or 2, but 100 people, I can't trust myself to deal with that. I can trust myself to deal with managing a team of 1, but I can't trust myself to deal with managing a team of 30. You see how self-trust underlies all of these factors. The last point I really want to drive home here is that the other thing that really underlies all 5 of these factors is safety. If you do not feel safe with your big vision, if you do not feel safe with making more money, if you do not feel safe with money in general, if you do not feel safe with success, if you do not feel safe with all of these things, with what other people's opinions might be, if you have not dealt with some of these feelings of like these blocks and these stories which make it feel unsafe to have this big vision, what's going to happen is your nervous system is going to be dysregulated. You're going to be coming from a fight or flight response in regard to the big vision. It's going to feel overwhelming. It's going to feel like a burden. It's going to feel hard. It's going to feel like an uphill battle that you'll never win. And you're not going to do it. You're not going to go there. Or you're going to always feel like you're trying to go there, but you're making zero progress, or, running up the hill and sliding back constantly over and over and over again. Why? Because your subconscious will see that big vision as something that's dangerous, and it will constantly try to keep you safe by holding you back from it in any way, shape, or form it can. A lot of these are our old coping mechanisms. There's tons of old coping mechanisms this can show up in. And we've talked about this in some of the previous videos and in some of the, previous discussions about this. But you've got to deal with the nervous system and these subconscious things that are outside of your awareness, these blocks and these limiting beliefs that say my big vision isn't safe. And that will allow you to go for it. To go for your big purpose here in this world.